Hey folks, it's that time again. Time for another TWiP Pro photo critique session. This is critique number 20. This is TWiP. All right, critique number 20 is about to be recorded right now. I'm sitting here with my friend, Mr. Hey, what is your name? Troy Miller.
Nice. Look.
Troy Miller. There you go. Hi, my name is Troy. So, Troy, we've got some good submissions this week to run through with a little bit of a twist, right? So, what was our twist this week? Tell us about it.
Patriotism. That was the category that we threw out there, and it's a challenging topic. It's a challenging thing to photograph and find imagery for, and it's a challenging thing to define. As you start looking for imagery for it, I think it's going to be interesting.
Yeah, no, I agree. I was a little bit disappointed. Little inside baseball that we didn't get more submissions, and some of the submissions that we did get didn't. They're patriotic, but I don't feel like people dove into it. I don't know if it was because of the topic itself or some other reasons, but I wanted more artistic interpretation of patriotism. But we did get some good ones though. So
right. And again, it's like we had that conversation about photojournalism and the definitions behind that. And patriotism is one of those kind of things that I think it's hard, or maybe somebody hasn't really thought about. Right? Like what does that mean to me? And then to fulfill that creation process of photographing it, we only gave them 7 days.
Yeah.
So that might be too short, but I still think it's a challenging subject. So
yeah, well, maybe that's it. Maybe I'll post in the community and ask folks what they, is 7 days too quick of a turnaround? Do you need 2 weeks? Should we break the critiques out and have critique sessions, which are not sort of contest theme related, and then have a theme related contest that, may happen every couple of weeks or monthly or something like that. So who knows? Who knows what the right answer is, but we will find the right answer.
Get some feedback on that.
We'll get some feedback. Cool. Well, let's dive in, man. We've got 7 entries to go through. Let's look at this first one. Let me bring this up here. All right, there we go. This one's from Craig Stampley, and he has titled this one, let's bring up this here. He has titled this first one, Pincushion Island. Pincushion Island. Now, truth be told, he submitted this one last week. I think it was for last week's critique. So this was not, which was liquid, right? So this is part of the liquid submission. So this is not his patriotic one, but I wanted to make sure we gave him some feedback on this one as well. What do you think?
Right. I dig it. I think he's showing these in the TWiP Pro community just to make me jealous because I love these so much. I just absolutely love these. I really don't have a lot to add to this. I would say maybe looks like maybe it's a little over sharpened, and I would prefer to see it a little bit more smooth. Mm-hmm. So if you're running this in Lightroom, for example, crank up that luminosity slider a lot, and it'll smooth out, the sharpness, because I don't think this needs to have that kind of sharpness or crispness, as it were. But I don't have one of these type of images. I wish that this was mine. I'm going to change the logo, be like, oh, look what I did, Huntington Beach. No, but I am going to work on trying to get stuff like this. I'm very inspired by these. I love these a lot.
Yeah, this one definitely passes the would you make a print and hang it on your wall test, right? So this one I would definitely print and hang on the wall. And I don't have any negative criticisms for this one either, because this is beautiful. I love the motion. I love the softness yet sharpness of it. I love that top wave, how it's sort of semi-translucent there, so you can see the light coming through it. He did a fantastic job on this. So
yeah, the clouds mimicking the waves. I might take some of that foreground out of there as I look at it. But that's one of those. Yeah, but that's one of those kind of things where you have to just play with it, and I'll crop an image and I'll look at it as a background for a long time just to make sure. So
interesting. Yeah.
yeah, because it's so hard to tell. It's so hard to tell what's going to be best and what you want to tell as an artist.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this one's nice. Again, this one looks like it could be part of a series too. You know, where you have a series of these kind of waves that are all post-processed in a similar manner. So yeah.
Or you print something like this as like 60-inch verticals and you cut it into 3 pieces.
Oh, a triptych.
So so you fill a wall with this image and just break it up. Either way, these images have so much richness in them, and you can go so many different directions when you edit them because you don't have skin tone to worry about. You can really bring in any tone you want and tell whatever story you want with it.
Yep.
And very abstract. I dig that.
Yep. Very cool. All right, Craig, thank you for this submission. The next one is from Gordon Burnett. He calls this one Sculpture by the Sea. I have a sneaking suspicion that this one was for the liquid theme as well. So let's bring that one up.
Yeah.
So, like, what is that? Is that a purse? That's a giant, that's a giant purse. Or is it giant?
He said in the comments that it's a steel sculpture.
Nice.
And I'm I like working with steel. I'm a little jealous that I hadn't thought about making a gigantic purse.
I think you should make one.
No.
I think you should get a commission by Michael Kors and go to town, man.
We need fire coming out of the center of the purse, though. That would be really great. But
there you go. Well, what do you think of this one photographically?
I think first of all, I think it's a super cool subject to be photographing, and good job for seeing this and going in there and shooting that. I think that time of day would make a bit of a difference with this one. I think it's a little bit the background is too bright and our subject isn't lit as well. Mm-hmm. Our horizon's a little crooked. Mm-hmm. This is one of those kind of subjects that I would get out my iPhone and look at where the sun sets and rises and where the moon's going to be and figure out and come back and shoot this thing in a way that's going to really show it off. Maybe bring a model in there to show scale if you want to do that.
Oh yeah, do some forced perspective, right? Yeah.
Yeah, because it's hard. I mean, I don't know how big it is. It could be small, or it could be 20 feet across. I have no idea.
Right. Yeah, those plants aren't really giving it away either to let you know.
But what a cool subject. I mean, there's so many things you can do with this.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with you as well on the criticism part of it. My eye goes straight to that horizon, and I notice that the horizon isn't crooked or isn't straight. So I'd want that straight. And I could see, I'm not sure what, and maybe Gordon, you can tell us what you were using as the basis for the horizontalness, if that's a word, for this image. Was it the foreground rocks? Because I can see those foreground rocks underneath the purse are relatively straight. So were you looking at that as your horizon? Were you looking at the sort of hilltop there as your horizon, or were you just looking at the artificial horizon that the camera overlays on the LCD and trusting that? Right. Because that can never be wrong, right? Of course.
No.
If it's green, it's horizontal.
Right. No, this is a really cool shot. I mean, really cool subject, really nice shot. I would go back and shoot this a lot. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
because it's going to be
if
different.
That thing is big. Yeah, if that sculpture is big, I definitely want to see a forced perspective shot of that. That'd be killer.
Yeah,
that would be killer.
I agree. Very cool.
Very nice, Gordon Burnett. Thank you. Sculpture by the Sea. Good work. All right, next one's Craig Stampley returns to the fray again, this time with a topic-appropriate image. This one is called Passport by Craig Stampley.
Right, and this is in the patriotism category.
Yeah,
I think
patriotism.
He threw a comment in there about Australians like to travel, and that's sort of very popular for them to do. I'm assuming that all those dots are places that he's probably been. That's pretty freaking cool. I've been to like 2 of those dots.
I've been to a couple of them.
And none of the stars. No, that's really cool. As far as a photograph goes, we'll look at this as maybe like a commercial style photograph. the reflection is really kind of bright. We need to bring that down. That just means moving the light off to the side, things like that. But I like the juxtaposition of the map and the passport and the money kind of giving us that story. I wish that the image had more depth to it, things like that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of the shot is relatively perpendicular to the film plane, so it is kind of flat there. My criticisms would be, that bright hotspot on the lower left. Like, do we even need that? Because that's just blank space down there, and it's drawing my eye to that blank space for no apparent reason. And then in the upper right, it's also blank there. So yeah, if you got in a little closer, maybe use a shallower depth of field to kind of add a little bit more artistic interpretation to the shot, I think that would have gone a long way. But yeah, that's when I'm looking at the shot, it feels editorial, right? So it feels like this would be in context of a bunch of other shots about traveling to Australia or traveling in general, since we've got all the dots on the map. It's like, this is a person who travels, and bring your money with you, keep it in a money belt, and make sure you have a passport, not just driver's license, Americans, and hit the road. But yeah, I think from a patriotism, does this fit, and does this tell the story of patriotism? Yeah. Right. I mean, you're talking about, hey, I'm an Australian citizen and I've traveled to all these different places. I got money from Indonesia in my wallet. I've been all these different places, but I always return home. So yeah, that's patriotism there. So
yeah, it's very cool.
Yep, very cool. All right, Craig, thanks for the engaging conversation, Craig, on TWiP Pro. We were talking about, I think initially he was having trouble with the topic because I think he was thinking I thought American patriotism because I'm American. So when I posed the topic, I was thinking American patriotism, but like I said on TWiP Pro, patriotism is not an American word. As far as I know, it's a word that could apply to many other cultures. So
right.
And how you interpret patriotism doesn't necessarily have to be positive, right? It doesn't have to be like, I'm a patriot and I, country first and all that stuff. Depending on where you're from and the current zeitgeist in that nation, you may interpret patriotism as a negative thing. So.
Right. And one of our earlier images on the critique was a black and white. I think it was in Sacramento at the Capitol. Yeah. I mean, that image right there could very well fit in the patriotism, the photojournalism category.
Yeah.
Because it's about, the freedom of speech and we're here, protesting or whatever. That's patriotism in a big way, too. So I think that's why we wanted patriotism, because it is one of those topics that can go so many different directions, right? And it really requires sort of an internal dialogue too. Like, what is this?
Yeah, what does patriotism mean to me? And it will change, right? What does patriotism mean to me this week? Depending,
right.
I tell you, my patriotism is a pendulum depending on what's happening in the news this week.
Yeah. So, depending on what tweet comes out, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
No, it's interesting. I thought that was a deep topic, but like I said, I wanted some deeper images. Maybe we'll do this one again.
Yeah. Let's do it. Like, maybe do it on TWiP Pro community. We'll just kind of keep it growing in there, or something like that, because that way it has more time to mature and evolve.
Yep. I agree. All right, let's look at this next image. This next one is from Andrea, and she's titled this one "Unforgotten." Unforgotten. Let's bring this guy up here. I can get the right one. There we go. Unforgotten.
Well, what a powerful image. I mean, I just noticed that in the wall of names that there's an image in there. I didn't see that because initially I looked at these earlier, so that even adds more impact to this. Yeah. So I really love the story that's going on here. I would say, Andrea, that in a shot like this, we still need direction of light, composition, things like that. And I think this image is struggling from being out of focus. And
it's a little soft, yeah.
And I'm wondering if there isn't a bigger image here. I'm wondering if you cropped it and there isn't more maybe with some other people around, it might be okay. I love his dog there. I love his pose. He seems to be very introspective in this moment, thinking about something. And I love the story that this carries, and it fits very well.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree with you as well. The sort of unknown cowboy, if you will, with his dog staring introspectively at the long list of names there are, for in my opinion on this image, supporting characters. The wall is kind of the main thing because they're looking at it, and you kind of like, you look at him and you're like, oh, what's he looking at? And you look at the wall, and then oh, okay. So to that end, like you were saying, Troy, I'd want to see a little bit more of that wall. And if there was Andrea, if you have a shot of the same shot zoomed out a little bit or a lot, where in the lower corner position, kind of like you have now, the dog and the guy there, the owner there, are in the lower right third, but then the majority of the image is just this list of names that seems to go on forever. I think that would draw more attention to the fact that he's looking at all these people that are deceased, and he's paying his respects to them.
Right. A powerful image either way, and I'm sure there's a lot of ways to photograph that.
Totally.
Yeah.
It's humbling to try to capture something like that, And like you said, there's a million ways to capture a shot like that.
Yeah, good job, Adriana. Good job.
Yeah, thank you for submitting it. Cool. All right, the next one is from Kyle Nishioka. He's titled this one JPAC Arrival Ceremony. Here we go. JPAC Arrival Ceremony.
Right.
What do you think of this one?
Well, this is very impactful, and this is kind of along the lines of what my image is going to be. It's at a funeral service, and you've got the vets there, and this is really, really powerful, and it tells the story, and I'm okay with the fact that the casket is going out of the frame, because it feels to me like it's leaving. And I like the fact that all of the gentlemen in the background are saluting, paying their respects, that they're the majority of the shot, right? Like they're the primary subject in this shot. I think that's very powerful. I wish it was a little sharper. It feels like there's some motion blur going on in there, but that's okay in that it's telling the story. So, photojournalistically, that kind of fits, right?
Yep.
But from an aspect of the photograph, if we just sort of step back and say, ooh, what could we do? Watching that shutter speed, maybe it was a super long lens, or it was, weird lighting, whatever, but still a very powerful image. Yeah,
they're probably in a dark hangar, I would guess, or someplace dark.
Right.
I agree with you. I was going to draw a circle around that as well. It's not as sharp as it could be, but then again, just like you said, this is more in that photojournalism type space. And my question to you, I thought you were going to bring this up, Troy, but you didn't. Would this image be better off black and white? Or does it need to be color? I mean, you see the stars and stripes here. The only thing that's adding to color here that you need the color for would be the stars and stripes, the flag. But if you know the flag, you know what those geometric forms are, right? So you don't necessarily need the red and the blue.
Right. Well, I left that for you. I set you up, so you had something there.
You got to give me something, right?
I think black and white would work really well with this. I think that also applying a bit of an aging effect to this, bringing the tones down, flattening it out, making it look like, an old Polaroid coloring or something like that, to really give it that sort of darker, foreboding feel, right? I mean, you can be in a situation like this and there's beautiful light coming in, but let's maybe tune that to fit the feel of the moment.
Yeah.
So that's where you can take some creative license and do that. Unless, of course, you're doing this for press, then you wouldn't want to do that.
Yeah. Yep. Very cool. Hawaii, man. Hawaii. You gotta love it. All right. So the next image here is from Matthew Moore. He's titled this one County Fair. Let's bring that up here. County Fair.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
This guy, the guy on the left looked like why are you taking pictures of me?
Yeah.
Are you taking pictures of our butts? Like, what's going on?
What's going on?
Yeah, exactly. Do I need to come over there?
Yeah, but I mean, in the Midwest, especially, a lot of the county fairs and stuff. I mean, it is a huge deal. I mean, there's American flags everywhere, and it's a huge thing for them. So the patriotism there is monumental.
Yeah.
So I love the story that you're telling here. I really do. So good job with that guy. I hope that guy was okay with you taking his photo.
Yeah. I hope that didn't end badly. Right.
Right. I do think, though, that this is one of those times when in camera, hopefully you can see it, is that you're clipping the flag at the top, which I'm assuming you included on purpose. And we have a little more room on the bottom than what we need, so you could change that crop. Maybe you crop that, in post, but I would like to see all of the flag in there.
Yeah, all of the flag in there, and maybe get a little bit closer. Like you said, you don't need that red stripe at the bottom, right? Or the ground on the lower left there. If he was to crop in a little bit closer, maybe even, well, it's already vertical, but then to crop it a little bit more vertical, get more of the flag in there if possible, to draw attention to the fact that these guys are wearing flag shirts and there's a flag up there, is to kind of hammer that home. Right now, they're getting a little bit lost in the, with all the other stuff that's going on in the scene, and then you notice that there's a flag up there, and you notice they have these shirts on, and the guy's looking at the camera and the photographer. But if we were a little bit closer, it would have hammered it home a little bit more. Like, oh, look at the flag. Oh, these guys are really patriots here.
Right. And, and this is one of the things that you can take away from the critiques is that when you're out there photographing, maybe when you look through the viewfinder, you think of these things, right? So on the right-hand side, you got the back half of the horse, but you have space over there that you don't need. So in camera, lift, pan slightly to the right, and there's your shot. Include more of the horses on the left, get rid of that negative space on the lower right, include more of the flag at the top, and then you don't have to do it in post, right? It's all there already for you.
Yeah, you got the pixels.
Yeah, you got the pixels.
Yeah, very cool.
Yeah, I like it.
Well, cool, Matthew Moore. Thank you for submitting this. This is good. Right on topic and good work. All right, this last shot. I don't know if we should even be talking about this one. This one is from Troy Miller. Let me bring this one up here. Troy Miller has submitted this one. It's untitled as of yet, but it is it's patriotic. Troy, what were you thinking when you made this? Where was this?
This was at the I'm trying to think of the Van Buren. There's a military cemetery out there in Southern California in Riverside, not too far from March Air Force Base. I don't know the name of the actual place, but this was a ceremony for a friend and past client of mine, and his father had passed away. He had served in World War II. He was a gunner in one of the bomber airplanes and stuff. And this was his service, and they had me come in and photograph that. And I had never been to a military service like this in person, and I was absolutely blown away with just the ceremony itself, but the way that they handled the flag. They pulled it off the casket, they folded the flag with such intensity and dignity and respect, and then they gave that to his widow. Yeah. Right? Like the guy walked over, knelt down in front of her and handed it to her, and it was just so precious the entire time that they were doing it. I was blown away. I had never seen that before. Yeah.
It's a moving ceremony when you get to see it in person. Did they do the gun salute? Where they actually fire the guns off?
They did, yeah, they did, and they did the trumpet where they had one of the soldiers or one of the volunteers off to the side, and the single trumpet, And I was amazed too. I was speaking to them that those guys are all volunteers when they come in to do that for their fallen comrades, right? Like they're there because they have such patriotism to this whole concept that they're there.
Yeah. unfortunately, there's far too many of those ceremonies going on, and there's lots of practice. You can, you can have lots of opportunities to practice to get better and better at those ceremonies. From a technical standpoint, looking at this image, Troy Miller, I see two white spots on the flag there.
Right.
Why did you not clone those out of there?
Because I didn't think about it.
Hey, this is what you would say if somebody had submitted this, right?
No, you are absolutely right. And as I'm looking at this, I know that I should have removed the little bright spot at the bottom, which is his button.
Yep, right there.
I don't want to mess with his medals or any of that kind of thing. But those two specks on the flag, I should absolutely remove those.
Yeah.
And just to keep it nice and clean.
Yep, those, and then the other thing I was curious about. I don't have a problem with it, but the border treatment.
Mm-hmm.
What was the idea behind the border treatment on the image itself?
So the border is something that I've been using for about 20 years, and it's on all of my images. I use them on everything. So if you go to imageryconcepts.com and look at the photos there, they all have borders.
So that's part of your trademark kind of thing.
Yep. I did it in film. I spent a lot of money, and I bought this mask for my lab, and they printed all my proofs that way, and I just carried it forward digitally. That's cool. That's cool. Yeah, it's interesting. Probably 50-50 will buy the border. Not everybody likes the border, but the border's fun, and it's legitimately my trademark.
Yeah, that's interesting because in the context of what we were talking about last week or a week before, I think it was, we were talking about watermarks and those sorts of things. That is one way to distinguish your work from others. Is like, oh, Troy always does this border type effect on his work, right?
And it actually works better in print. So it really came down to where I print all of my photos for all my clients. They all get proofs. So I make 4x6 proof. So when you pick up a 4x6 proof and it's printed edge to edge, it's not sexy, right? But when you can put a border on it, whether it's a nice white border or it's a grungy border like this or whatever, it sort of finishes it. It looks like it's intentional, like a postcard. And that's what I was going for. So that really is carried into the print more than anything else.
And do you find that it makes it feel to clients from a client perspective, it feels more expensive if it has the border on it versus edge to edge, or even having a straight border or just a white frame around it?
I do. I think it feels finished. I think it feels intentional, right? If you add something to it, and maybe this is just a silly point of view, but if you added something to it, you took time to finish the image. If it's not, it looks exactly like everything everybody else gets when they go to Costco and they pick up proofs from something. And I don't ever want my work to look like anybody else's, even at the most mundane level.
Yeah, no, I agree 100%. Very cool, man. Well, good. You explained everything away except for those two white specks that you left.
I was really hoping
that I would bring that up again.
But the TWiP community, they're brilliant people. They would have called me out on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I was saving you from them. That's what I was doing.
I know. Mark Harris or somebody would have been like, you told me that was a reflector and it wasn't. It was a curtain, and you left these, which is completely justified.
That's right.
I'm happy to be on the block as well.
That's right. Yeah. Cool. All right. I think that's it. Yeah. So we've got through 7 images. Thanks everyone for your submissions. It's been a good one. We gotta pick a winner. We have to pick a winner. We have to pick a winner. Let me go back and bring these back up here. Oh, and I never did reveal what the prize was going to be. So what I think the prize will be is, let's see if I can bring this back up this way. A Starbucks gift card. So I'm pretty sure Starbucks is prevalent or present in most countries that are represented in these 6 images that we're going to use. So we got to agree on one of them. So let's do it.
I just slacked you my
Oh, you mean I have to launch Slack now in order to see? Even though we're in Skype, you decided to use Slack.
I want number 5.
Oh, you like number 5? Oh, yeah, Kyle Nishioka's. Yeah. Let me see. I think I had that one on my list too. I would have picked 7, but that would not be fair because that's yours. I'm going to agree with you. Yeah.
I think his tells a better story without having any explanation, which I think is part of what's important in this image. Is in his image, there's no doubt that there is, emotional elements. There's something, we know exactly what's happening. In my photo, you don't know. It could be a graduation. It could just be a simple, folding the flag, putting it away kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
We don't know what it is.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. This one definitely embodies the topic of patriotism the best out of all the ones that we've seen today.
Right.
Yeah. Even though it is a little bit motion blurred, but hey, I'm no stranger to motion blur on shots like this. This is where I spend half my life, or well, now not half, but a large percentage of my life shooting things like this, and then like crap, you get the film back, and you're like, oh, it's blurred a little bit. What do I do?
Right. Well, what's amazing is the same technique we're giving Kyle a little bit of hey, watch that, is exactly what Craig is using when he's photographing his waves. He's letting them blur. Mm-hmm. So it's about everything has its place, and there's a way to apply it, whether it's intentional or not. So
yeah.
Very cool.
Good. Well, there you go. Kyle Nishioka, congratulations. I will direct message you on TWiP Pro and let you know how, we'll discuss how to get your prize to you, which is a Starbucks gift card. Very cool. And I'm reasonably sure there are Starbucks in Hawaii. So
I have a tumbler that's from Hawaii, so I know it can.
There you go. We know there's, you can use it there. Well, cool.
Yay.
Hopefully you drink coffee or some other beverage that they serve over there. That's it, man. Let's go ahead and end this. I know you got to run. You're running a little bit late. Where should people go to keep up with Mr. Troy Miller?
Spicy Jello. Go to Spicy Jello on Instagram or spicyjello.com. They all kind of lead to the same place, and you can find me from there.
All right. Spicy Jello. We got to do a whole show on what the deal is with that name. Spicy Jello. All right, cool, man. Well, thank you for doing this. And thanks to all the folks who submitted their entries into this week's Patriotism. Congratulations, Kyle Nishioka, for taking away the first prize on TWiP Pro. Not first prize, because we didn't have multiple prizes, but the first one, as in the first time we're giving away.
Way to knock it off. Yeah.
So should we do another one next week, or what do you think? Should we go back to just general population type submissions?
I think we should leave it a mystery, and we'll post it in TWiP Pro. We'll let them know.
Yeah, because I actually want to ask about frequency and stuff too. So I'll post a message in there, and we're going to be switching over from the Slack platform over to Mighty Networks in a couple of days here too. So
yay!
Yeah, so finally we'll have a little bit more elbow room in there to move around.
Yeah, that'll be awesome. That'll be great.
Cool.
That'll be great.
All right, man. Well, thanks a lot for your time today. I appreciate it.
You got it. All right, take care, Frederick.
See you later.
Thank you.
This is TWiP.